video 8 of the 4th Street Software Baseball 1927 AL project. I'll discuss batter's cards. First up, let's take a look at a couple of Yankee players here. We've got Earl Combs, whose name is in blue because he bats left. After his name, there's a star because in 1927, had there been an all-star game, I would have named him to that all-star team. Furthermore, in the Yankees, we got Mike Gazzella, whose name is in red because he bats right. And then Mark Koenig, however you pronounce it, his name is in purple because he is a switch hitter. Okay, we'll focus in a little bit here on Mickey Cochrane. As we discussed in the pitcher's card video, there's a count plus minus total generated now on the cards. So since there's only a range of 20 from 80 to 100, it's not the same impact that the pitcher would have. But in Mickey's case, he's got plus 7 more balls than strikes over his 20 matchups. Once again, just like the pitchers, there's a percent of the time that he in the simulation faced right-handed pitchers at 82%. His injury rating is +0, no different than the company system. Clutch hitting is 0, all batters are 0. I did not use clutch hitting. His arm from the outfield is a +9. He doesn't play the outfield, so that's generally the default rating I used for non-outfielders. CHT, though, is his catcher's throwing against stolen base attempts, so he's a +2. I put pluses in green and I put negatives in red. Error is 9 total errors that he made on the season at all positions that he played. Run of 13, no different than the company system. Go, I'll do a separate video on go. Jump 5, steal 20. Again, no different than the company system. Although you might see players as steals of high as 30. So I once again took liberties to expand the top range or the cap that the company uses on stealing. Stat-wise, similar to the pitcher, the common stats are there, but I have introduced the balance rating. In his case, in the simulation, he will produce 88 runs per 1,000 plate appearances against lefties and 195 per 1,000 plate appearances against righties. Again, there's not full play-by-play, totally known lefty and righty stats for the 27th season. I did not track lefty-righty splits for accuracy. I was chasing total stats accuracy. So he might not really have been this diverse, although 82% of the time facing right-handed pitchers from the as-played lineups, it's close to that also. It looks like his manager back then also didn't want him facing lefties very well, or very much. I mentioned before that I exceeded the cap of the company's range ratings of various settings. Usually it's 20. You can see Mickey's PC or pitch command and control rating here exceeded that. He's at 25 in that case. That's because he has an extremely low strikeout rate. So that number had to go above and beyond 20 to get that strikeout rate to stay as low and only have him strike out 7 times in a season, plus or minus half like Walter's 7 home runs allowed. I felt comfortable anywhere from 6.5 to 7.5, and that necessitated that 25 rating. Again, since play-by-plays aren't known, with that 25 rating, it skewed the hit batters or hit by pitch amount that he had. So his hit by pitch will actually show up in his bunting column when he bunts or drags. That doesn't mean I knew for certain that he got hit by pitch when he was bunting. That's just where that result code needed to show up to accurately, or as close as accurately, have the total amount of times he was hit by pitch come out during the simulation. Under defense, you'll see that I put a little E after the result codes that can result in an error. So we'll see here that 5E or 8E means a D20 roll of 1 to 15 if it's the 5, and 1 to 18 if it's the 8E. Can be an error. Down in the stat line, the known stats are pretty much there. There's more stats there than the company cards have. One extra thing I added is the stolen base percentage, so you can have a kind of a look at what his success rate should be at 9 steals and 15 attempts, 6 caught stealings, so that's a 60% steal rate. I, late in the game, added some result code 24 for pickoff attempts from the catchers. It's not fully known by play-by-play, but looking at Mickey, he was above average compared to the league. So those players, or those catchers that were above average compared to the league for picking off a runner, got the result code 24. As to that stolen base percentage, some of these players have extremely low stolen bases. We'll discuss that more in detail with the go and the drag ratings. But you can see a player like, let's see if we can find Joe Sewell. Yeah, Joe Sewell here had a 16%, let's see if that shows up, 16% stolen base rating. So he's 3 stolen bases and 19 chances. He was caught 16 times. Pretty incredible that they would let him run that much. So you can see up here his stolen base number is a 0, but he'll get the jump 55% of the time. And as I'll explain the go rating later, we'll make him go with a roll of 11. That's pretty much the batter's cards. It's not much different than the cards for the regular company cards. The only other differences I can see is, I put the range again side by side for the count system. You might see some, the added new result codes like 34s. It's got a few 34s on there. Again, abbreviated baseball stats like single, SI, or base on balls or walks, BB. They're more intuitive right there on the card. But other than that, that'll do it for batter's cards.